Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're talking about the ultimatum episode 6, 7 and 8. So we're about to get to the engagement, so we're nearly done with the season. I have to be honest, this is probably my least favorite season so far. My top is the ultimatum South Africa, that was unmatched. And then I liked the other American ones, but this one, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. I don't really like anyone. So it's kind of, I'm not really rooting for any particular couple. Half of the cast left, you know, it's just not a good season, but let's finish it out. So episode 6, so we come back from the guys' night. So we've got Scotty and Zena, and this was insane. I am convinced that Scotty is not okay. He was like death staring at her, trying to intimidate her. I really hope he watches this back and kind of see himself from someone else's point of view, because he was behaving crazily, in my opinion. I was like, what is going on? And I really appreciated Zena's communication skills. She was able to de-escalate him, she was able to check him on his behavior, and they were still able to have a normal conversation. And she must have gained those skills from dealing with JR, because she handled that really well. And I think most people would not have been able to handle someone talking and acting the way he was acting. I just think Scott is a bit of a red flag. I feel like he's an aggressive communicator. So he doesn't yell, he doesn't shout, but he says things really aggressively. And he does this with Zena, and he does this with his actual real life girlfriend. And I think it's really problematic. And he's the type of guy who he thinks he's a good guy. He paints himself as, oh, I'm one of the few men who were here who gave the ultimatum. I'm one of the few men who gave the ultimatum. So he thinks he's a good guy, but he's actually exhausting and really sassy. Like, he's trying to go back and forth with the women. I just don't like that. Scotty, oh my god, I just don't want to see him on my screen. He reminds me of someone as well, which doesn't help. Okay, so then we move on to JR and Sandy. And my thing with JR and Sandy, how much did you love your original partners if you're able to embrace this this new marriage so easily? Like, they're embracing it too much, in my opinion. I don't understand how you're with someone for 3 years, you meet this new guy, and you're already calling each other husband and wife, you're kissing before you go to bed. They seem very comfortable, they don't seem conflicted at all, and I think that's strange. And I think that says a lot about them as people, and also probably the health of their relationships, because they just forgot about the other partners. And I just think that's crazy. I don't think that's realistic to do that. You can't do that if you love someone, right? I also found that what's his name, JR, was so reassuring to Sandy, so reassuring. So he spoke so positively about her, he gave her a lot of positive affirmations, and we just didn't see that side of JR with Zena until the very end. But I was like, does he even like this girl? And I think, you know what people say, when people tell you who they are, believe them. I feel like JR told Zena, I feel like you love me more than I love you, or you want me more than I want you. And if a man feels like that, I just don't think you're going to go anywhere. And I feel like Zena, she seems like such a good woman. I don't understand why JR is her choice. JR has his own issues. He mentioned he was bullied when he was younger. People picked on him. And I feel like sometimes those people, they've got a point to prove. And I think perhaps his point to prove is that he's attractive and women want him. And I feel like he's still on that journey. I don't think he's ready to settle down and be a husband. He still wants to show, like, the people he went to school with that I made it, I'm good looking, I'm fit. And I think that's his path at the moment, you know. That's what he's chasing. And I really liked how Sandy didn't say anything bad to Zena when they went to the girls' night. I think that was really nice and respectful. But I feel like JR was doing the complete opposite. He was purposefully trying to trigger Nick. It was so obvious. He was purposefully trying to trigger Nick, trying to pick at him and saying things to make Nick jealous, because he knew Nick was already emotional. He was already spiraling. So he just wanted to, like, make him feel bad again, and I think it's really crazy. And he's also acting like Nick came to interrupt him and his like real wife, but this is also Nick's girlfriend. So I think Nick is allowed to have a moment of weakness where he's like, I want to speak to my girlfriend. He seems so disrespected by what Nick did, and I think that's strange in my opinion. What do I want to say? And Nick, so moving on to Nick. So Nick, with the whole tattoo thing, I was so confused. First, would you not speak with the tattoo artist and say, I want to have this written? Do you just go and lay down and you don't discuss? You just send it to him but you don't talk about it? I found that really, really hard to believe and really unbelievable. And on top of that, I do feel like Nick was influenced by JR's tattoo. I do. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think JR is living in Nick's head rent-free. Whatever Cardi B said, he's doing that, because what? And then we move on to Caleb and Arya. So we're still on episode 6. Arya's brother does not like Scotty. Arya's brother does not like Scotty, and we don't know what happened with Arya's dad, but we get the impression that he wasn't a good man. So the fact that Arya's brother said Scotty reminds me of dad in some ways, that's not a good sign. And in this episode 6, when Caleb was with Arya, I was like, Caleb seems like such an amazing guy. He seems so, so easygoing, so nice, so caring. I really liked Caleb in episode 6. However, we move on to episode 7 and I'm like, oh, what happened to the Caleb with Arya? It's almost like, that saying that different people bring out different sides of you. I feel like Caleb with Arya seem like they match, but Caleb and Mariah, I'm sorry to say, I don't think they're gonna make it. So yeah, so we move on to episode 7. The couples are reunited. So we've got Zena and JR. Obviously Zena finds out that JR kissed Sandy. They said they kissed twice. I do not believe that at all. I feel like I've seen them more than that on screen. I know I've seen them kiss in bed, I've seen them kiss at the restaurant, and I saw them kiss like in the swimming pool or something. And I 100% believe they came up with a story to tell the cameras and to tell their partners, but definitely more happened with JR and Sandy. There's no way they just kissed twice. It was definitely more than a peck. I do not believe it. So yeah, so JR, what else? There's nothing much. I mean, they seem comfortable, but they seem like those people who've been together for so long, but you can't really see what's keeping them together. And I really like the fact that Zena was trying to make their relationship a little bit deeper, because it does seem very surfacey. They both mentioned how in the real world they don't really do many things together. They're very independent people. So I don't know if the relationship, something about the relationship is not giving, and I don't know what it is. Caleb and Mariah. I really don't like how Caleb keeps downplaying his relationship with what's her name, with Arya. So it's either Caleb was just being nice and Arya is misreading it, or Caleb doesn't want to hurt his girlfriend's feelings, so he's downplaying it. But either way, I think it's making Mariah feel like he's lying and he's withholding something. And I feel like it would be better for Caleb to just be like, I really liked her, she's a good girl, be a little bit more honest. He keeps trying to put her in the friend zone, and I think no one is buying that story. No one is believing it. It doesn't make sense because they seem to have such a good connection. He honestly seemed more connected to Arya than he does to Mariah, so there's definitely something there that he's hiding from. But I also do feel like Arya, maybe she can't handle rejection, but she keeps saying, oh no, he definitely found me attractive. Maybe he didn't. Not everyone has to find you attractive, right? So there's something interesting going on there. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Caleb is downplaying it because he's trying to preserve Mariah's feelings, or do you think Arya is making more of it than what it was? And then we move on to oh yeah, one more thing with Caleb and Mariah. Obviously I know that like Mariah mentioned that she's got her insecurities, so this whole situation is making her feel uncomfortable. She did handle it really well considering she was alone this whole thing. But I wanted to say that I feel like they don't have a good energy together. when they're together now, I'm just looking at them, I'm like, no one seems happy. And I feel like Caleb was actually really avoidant when he was talking to her. He was always on his laptop. He seemed really disinterested. I think it's interesting where you can see someone with someone else and they've got a completely different personality, completely different vibe. And me seeing Caleb with Arya, I was like, oh, okay, Caleb. Seeing him with Mariah, I'm a bit like, oh, he's not very emotionally in touch, from what we see so far. Okay, and then Arya and Scotty, oh my god. I think Arya is completely checked out. The fact that she can't be physical with him, she can't give him the physical what's it called, physical touch, that says a lot. The fact that she can't be reassuring to him with her words, so she can't give him words of affirmation, no physical touch. I don't think she's buying him gifts. Like, none of the love languages that she can give to Scotty. And I really and truly believe it's because Scotty is just not a good man, and she's just there for obligation. They don't live together. She seems checked out to me. She seems really like, okay, if you do want to propose, that's okay, like, I'll find someone else. That's the vibe that I'm getting from her. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, Scotty communicates really aggressively. He is just really difficult to watch actually on screen. He seems like someone who's angry, like always angry inside and kind of boiling. And I think it's interesting how he said to her, oh, it seems like you're always upset about something. And I feel like we can say the same thing about him. He seems like he's always angry about something. So I hope they break up, to be honest, because that's just not a good match. And finally, we move on to Nick and Sandy. I think Sandy was in the bed crying over JR. I'm confused about what's happening between those two because the emotions are raw. I think it was nice being able to see at least one positive side to Nick, where he was very supportive towards her when she was upset. And I really do not appreciate the fact that Sandy did, obviously she lied. She lied and said they kissed once, but they actually kissed twice. But when we watch the show, we know they kissed more than twice. So she just keeps lying. And I think that's really unfair because obviously his emotions are like here. And I don't agree with how his emotions are like a roller coaster. But I also feel like he's probably had the most difficult experience in this experiment, and I think that's okay to acknowledge that. Side note, I love how Caleb stood up for Nick at the round table, because JR is acting a bit of a bully. You know how people who've been bullied in the past, they want to bully other people? I feel like JR acts like a bully sometimes, especially at that table. How he was talking to everyone, it was crazy. And then episode 8, to be honest guys, I didn't even make notes for episode 8. I found it really boring. I felt like we were just having like repetitive conversations, and I think it's because we've only got 3 couples left, so there's just not much to say or see until the proposals. I was just like, okay, let's skip this part. We get it. Let's skip to the proposals and let's actually see who gets married. Let's actually see who gets engaged. At the moment, I hope none of them get engaged. I don't think any of them are ready to get married. To be honest, I don't think any of them should be together anymore. Sandy and Nick, no. JR and Zena, no. Who's the other one? Scotty and Arya, no. Caleb and Mariah, no. And I don't necessarily even think that. I think maybe Caleb and Arya would be a good match, but everyone else, I think we should just all part ways and do something else. But yeah guys, that's my review. You guys let me know, did you like episode 8? I found it really boring. I was kind of skipping past it. Same conversations again and again. Let's actually see what happens. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. If you did, make sure you let me know by liking, commenting and subscribing, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.